One, two, three, funk it.
Hi everyone, my name is Fawwaz. I'm currently studying at the Department of Public Administration at the State Islamic University of Sunan, Bandung. In this video, I will explain about the diversification policy in the economic field in the United Arab Emirates or UAE. Let's go to the video.
So, on this occasion, I will explain about a very interesting topic, namely economic diversification policy to eliminate oil export dependence by 2030 in United Arab Emirates, UAE. Background: United Arab Emirates, UAE is one of the countries that are included in the Middle East region, where in general this country initially grew and lived on the basis of a dependence on a single sources, namely oil and gas. The UAE government is well aware that if the country only relies on one source of income, it will be very risky, especially if there are cases such as fluctuations or falling world oil prices. While oil is the main sources of income, there will be an economic slowdown. Therefore, there has been an initiative to implement a policy of economic diversification, especially in the non-oil and gas sector, so that the UAE's economic stability is maintained in the long term. History. We'll briefly review the history of the Middle East and the United Arab Emirates. East region or Middle East is always interesting to talk about, be discussed, and the object of the research. This is because the Middle East has a strategic position in geopolitical consideration, both during colonialism and after. There are many factors that make the Middle East region a bone of concentration for a big nation such as America, Britain, and France. Some of the features contained in it include this region being the link between three continents, Asia, Africa, and Europe. And the Middle East is the land of the three major religions, namely Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Another important factor is that the region is rich in oil. And oil is also a very important factor, so that industry countries such as America, France, and Britain are increasingly compelled to dominate this region by all means. Raharjo and Jamal 2080. Talk about United Arab Emirates or UAE. The UAE was founded on December 1971 after Britain withdrew its troops from the Gulf region. The geographical location of the UAE is very strategic. The UAE is the center of the pearl trade and trade route between the Asian region and the European region. At this time, the role of the UAE has developed into a transit point for international flights, international ports, international oil pipelines, and a business center for the Middle East region. Pratama 2004. Talk about diversification. Product diversification is one way to increase sales of volume that can be done by the company, especially if the company is already in the maturity stage. So with diversification, a company does not only depend on one type of product or one business entity, but the company can also rely on other products and business entities. Kamidi 2013. And about Dubai World Expo 2020 or 2020. So what is Dubai Expo 2020? Dubai Expo 2020 is a world exhibition hosted by Dubai in the United Arab Emirates from 1 October 2021 to 31 March 2022. It was originally scheduled for 20 October 2020 to 10 April 2021, but was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. At the time of the expo was connecting minds, creating the future. The expo also had three subthemes: opportunity, mobility, and sustainability, each with its own pavilion. An event goal: each country participating in or participating in the Dubai Expo 2020 event will have its own pavilion to introduce or present and establish economic cooperation with other countries on strategic projects which have been designed or planned by each country. An impact on the economy. Tourism is one of the sectors that will be most affected with the Dubai Expo 2020 in the UAE. It will invite millions of tourists, especially tourists from abroad. Expo 2015 Milan, for example, was attended by 134 countries and gained 2001.5 million visitors. This year, Expo 2020 Dubai was attended by 191 countries and target 25 million visitors. And Indonesia involvement in Dubai Expo 2020. Minister of Trade Muhammad Lutfi is very optimistic that the Indonesia Pavilion at Expo 2020 Dubai will impress visitors from various countries in the world, recognize Indonesia enormous potential with the theme Creating the Future from Indonesia to the World. The Indonesia Pavilion is ready to welcome buyers and investors from all over the world. The Indonesian Pavilion at Expo 2020 Dubai is an event to showcase Indonesia's skills and potential to the world. The Indonesia Pavilion, featuring 3 time zones yesterday, today, and tomorrow, will open the world's eyes to see the power of Indonesian past, present, and future as a global power. And next, about aviation industry. And reporting from the Forbes website, based on Skytrax top 10 rankings, the UAE has 2 of the world's best ranked airlines, and that's Emirates Airlines and Etihad Airways. Etihad was able to become the best airline in the world after being chosen by travel agents and industry players as the owner of the best cabin crew and business class. Meanwhile, Emirates is considered to excellent service not only in the air but also on the ground. Emirates business class lounge at Dubai International Airport are considered the best lounge. The size of the airline's business is predicted to replace the UAE's main income from oil in the future. And World Bank report for GDP UAE. World Bank record also show that the GDP of the country, whose capital is Abu Dhabi, in 2015 reached 3070.29 US billion. Meanwhile, the UAE's GDP in 2016 was 669.7 billion US dollar each in 2016. The UAE had a 2017 GDP of 70,570 US dollars Citradic 2019. The UAE's nominal GDP was reported at 421.1 US dollar in 2019. This record is down from the previous 422.2 billion US dollar for 2018. United Arab Emirates nominal GDP 2020. The UAE occupies the second position after Qatar with per capita income of up to 44,075 with a GDP larger than Qatar, which is 440.181 billion US dollar starting 2020. Currently, the United Arab Emirates is the third largest country in Asia and the seventh in the world, with a GDP per capita of around 17,000. And that's all from me. I hope what I explained is useful, and thank you very much everyone. See you on the next video.